Hello, hello. Hello, Facebook. Hello, not Instagram, not yet. Hello, YouTube. Hope everyone's having a nice day. We'll get some people some time to jump onto the stream here. I gotta get the Instagram going here too. Hope everyone's having a nice Friday. Let's see here. Live. Going live. Let's see, where can I put this? It's Friday, it's July 2nd, 2021, and I got the cable, so we're good to go on the computer side of things here. How am I going to do this? I don't have enough room on all these. Just move this over here. iPad's in the way now. What am I going to do? I guess I'll just hold it. What's up, Nicole? Hello. If you're just joining, it's Friday. It's July the 2nd. I hope everyone's ready to have a nice holiday weekend if you're in the United States. And we're going to have our Q&A session today, as we do each and every Friday, except for when we had Jazz Trombone Boot Camp. We didn't have it that week, but I'm excited to answer some questions about jazz, about trombone, about jazz trombone, about whatever you guys are all working on. Be happy to do that today and go from there. So a couple of things coming up that I'd like to mention and bring to your attention. What's up, Taylor? Thanks for joining us here today. Hello. Is coming up. We have the International Trombone Festival, July 14th through 17th or 18th in Columbus, Georgia, and I'm going to be there performing and hanging out, and so I look forward to seeing some people there. It's also going to be totally streamed online, which will be really great. So if you can't make it, I hope you can make it online to check it out. I'll be doing some stuff with the youth workshop there, the ITF youth workshop, so that'll be exciting, and leading a jam session one of the nights, and I know Elliot Mason's going to be there, and Ben Patterson, formerly of the Airmen of Note, and Sarah Giacovino and John Fedchock, and I'm playing with Jennifer Wharton and her group Bonegasm. We're doing a recital, so that'll be exciting as well. So I hope you can make it out to the International Trombone Festival online or in person, so that'll be very exciting. And just because you're tuned in now, you're one of the first people here, just for my email list for the educational stuff that I do, I sent out this week a pre-order link for a new course that I'm launching, a jazz composition course. And that jazz composition course, you can find it on the teachable.com studio for the Institute for Creative Music, or if you just search Nick Finzer composition course, it will come up on Google, but it's not officially released yet. But if you're here and you're hearing this and you want to go and check it out, you can do that. There's a pre-order open on that for instant access, but the pre-order pricing is only good until next week. And next week I'll be sharing more details about that and sharing it with everybody who wants to check out some ideas around jazz composition, because I think that composition and arranging and improvising are all linked together in various ways, and especially our improvisational voice and our compositional voice, those ideas that we have and those choices that we make, if we can make them out of time, like when you're composing, you're making those compositional and improvisational choices not in time, right? They're out of time, so you're good to go back. You get to reflect. You get to think about what you really meant, all of that sort of thing. It can really help you to define that musical voice that you're developing, and all of that. So really important skill for a developing improviser, whether it's just to do etudes, whether it's just to do blues or rhythm changes or something like that, all of that stuff. So we'll walk you through, there's I think it's 10 or more lessons, that we take through some steps, and we kind of go through and talk about all things jazz composition. So not all things, but it's getting started. What's up from Costa Rica? Nice to see you. I see a lot of trombone players joining right now. Razam, jazz trombone. Segura Diaz, what's happening? I hope to get down to Costa Rica sometime. I've never been to Costa Rica, but I know there's lots of great trombone players down in South America, and I really want to get back there soon. Hopefully, all of this year will end with getting some good opportunities to get back on the road and play in some great countries. So I hope we can get that together very soon. And it's exciting. Gigs are coming back. I have some fall tour dates to announce. Not right now, but some tour dates coming back. So I'm excited about that for the fall. Also going to be at the Detroit Jazz Festival in September, Labor Day weekend. So if you were thinking about going to the Detroit Jazz Festival, want to say what's up, that would be awesome. What's up, Peter? What's up, Jesus? So yeah, that's what's happening in my world. I'm getting ready to launch a new book coming out, jazz trombone duets that feature improvisation. I'm going to launch that at the ITF. So if you're going to come, that'll be the first place to get hard copies. Will be actually at the International Trombone Festival, at their merch table, or maybe at the Ensemble booth, one or the other, or both. What's up, Andres? What's up, Sergio? That's where you'll be able to get it. So I wrote 10 duets that feature improvisation, and it's just for 2 instruments, not like 2 instruments plus rhythm section. It's just for 2 horns. So that's exciting. That's going to be coming out very soon. It's called Get To It, and that'll be available in hard copy and PDF. So all that'll be on my website soon. If you want it sooner than later, just send me an email, but it'll be there very shortly. So again, I see some questions coming in on the chat here. So we'll get into the questions. So feel free to drop them in. If you're on Instagram, you can just drop them in the comments. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, you can drop them in, and I'll see them here, and I'll bring them up on the screen, and we'll go through this one at a time. So he said, Peter asked where he can get the Outside in Music merchandise. He wants this T-shirt, man. The shirts are in my store, my personal store, nickfinzer.store, and look for OIM merch, and you can find it there. That's where all of the Outside in Music merch is located at this time. Eventually, we'll have our own store, but I'm trying to get. There's a bunch of moving pieces here, and I got to get them all kind of hooked up. So I got to get a couple things going before I can get the Outside in Music store back up and running. But let's get to some questions. From Brian, he says, what was an experience that really taught you what it meant to be a professional musician? And so I guess what he probably means by saying what it means, to teach you to be a professional musician, being like a tough situation where you realize you have to be ready to go at any point. That's what I think of as a professional musician, is like you're ready to go at any moment, and you can just get up, go, and make something happen. And I would say a couple of experiences that definitely kind of reflect that, like ethos, opportunity, is like being on sub list for Broadway. You know, like I started doing The Lion King at a certain point, and the guy likes to call out at the last minute, the guy whose chair it was, and he would call it like 6 for an 8 o'clock downbeat, and I hadn't played the show in a couple of months, you know, and it's like, okay, this is being a professional, getting the call, saying yes, going and doing it, and just making it happen, man. You just have to sometimes just make stuff happen. So that's one. Hope that it's a good example for you, Brian. Okay, from Taylor, on the topic of composition, what have you been listening to lately to broaden your writing? Do you try to listen to world music to expand your ideas? I've been doing some research about composing in some other more like cinematic type genres, so I've listened to some stuff like that. I haven't really specifically been listening. Well, the other thing I've been listening to get inspiration for writing, because I've been trying to write this darn project for like 2 years. It's a collaboration between my group, Here and Now, which is a sextet with Lucas Pino, who plays tenor and bass clarinet, Alex Wintz, who plays guitar, Glenn Zaleski on piano, Dave Barron on bass, and Jimmy McBride on drums. So it's, you know, kind of the guitar is kind of like a horn, so it's like 3 horns and rhythm section, plus percussion ensemble. So I don't really know that much about percussion ensemble, so I've been watching a lot of videos and listening to some percussion ensemble music, like anything from Steve Reich and that kind of minimalism vibe to, you know, more contemporary things, the improvised things, and trying to figure out like what the best instrumentation is. And so I got some people I got to talk to some more. I wrote like 30 or 40% of a piece for that kind of ensemble, and then I kind of stopped, and I got to get back to it. So one of these days. But I've been listening to stuff like that for research purposes. In terms of jazz composition, Data Lords by Maria Schneider, that's great. Hey Jack, hope you're doing well. I saw Mark the other day, and he said you guys hung out. Mark Kellogg, great professor of trombone at the Eastman School of Music. I actually played a concert last night at the Eastman School of Music, visiting some family this week and last week, and for a couple more weeks I'll be out of town. Alton, nice backdrop. I'm not home, so I got a little zone here, making it happen. Got the little Zen vibes. Yeah, so anyway, I played a concert with Clay Jenkins last night, and Charles Pillow, and Jeff Campbell, Rich Thompson, and Darius Tarafinko, faculty all at the Eastman School of Music, where I did my undergrad, and that was super fun. And it looks like, I got a text a minute ago here, I think we're going to play again next Thursday, so that'll be exciting, to play some gigs. But Jack, I didn't answer your question at all. Who would be your first choice personnel on the Nick Finzer Trombone Ensemble album? Wow, loaded question. I guess it always in New York at least comes down to like who's actually available on the dates that you wanted. But assuming everyone is available, and assuming, but I know you didn't probably mean this, Jack, but I'm gonna say that like I'm gonna have like the core ensemble, and then I'm gonna have guest artists, so that I can get. It's at Kilburn Hall, I think. Charles Pillow's recital is what it is, I think. Let me see. I'll check my text messages right here, live on the stream. What did Charles say? Yeah, Thursday. Next week, Thursday. Whatever date that is. The 8th? Okay, so I'm going to have guest artists on this thing so that I can concentrate on having as many people as possible. But I think it would be kind of like contemporaries and then like heroes as the guest artists. So like in the ensemble, the people that I would love to have would be like Michael Deese, Ryan Keberly, Marshall Gilks. I guess I would play Michael Deese, Marshall. That's 4. So I need 2 more tenor players. So James Burton, who's really great. And then you might not know him, but I would either call, who would I call? I think maybe Michael Davis or Steve Davis. But no, Steve Davis, I think he would be a guest. I would have like Teray and Steve Davis and Wycliffe and maybe like Conrad. I basically steal all the guest artists from Michael Davis's Hip Bone Big Band, basically, and then create a trombone ensemble album. I think it'll probably happen. It's just one of those things where it has to be the right thing at the right time, because nobody outside of trombone land wants to hear trombone ensemble music, really. I mean, I know that it sounds great, but everybody doesn't know. So we gotta show them. We gotta teach them what's up. So maybe we'll do some more. And I still got to work on the YouTube's recorded in an album. We got to get that finished. There's too many people, so maybe we could have a different personnel on each track, and then we could feature like everyone that plays trombone right now. I didn't say bass trombone, so I'd probably call Jen Wharton, because she's really great, and Jeff Nelson, if this is in New York, because Jeff is a beast. If you don't know Jeff Nelson, or Max Seigel. Max Seigel is really great too, and he improvises. So anyway. Jens, here's a question. Do you lip buzz? For a very short period of time, I tried to, you think you mean like free buzzing? Like right now I could just free buzz? I tried it for a while, and I didn't find that it was actually that useful. For me, it did more kind of damage than good. Talking about on the mouthpiece, I only do that very rarely and very specific times when I'm really feeling like I need to work on my aperture, I need to work on the control. So I'll work on that with doing some buzzing, but I'm not a big buzzing person. I've talked to some other people about this, and it's kind of like people are very opinionated about it, but to me, I don't think you really buzz when you play. So to practice buzzing is a little bit useless. But it's not useless. I don't mean it totally as like it's not 100% yes or no, because I do it sometimes, but it is a different thing. So I don't do it too much, a little bit. And saying it is useless is kind of being too extreme, That's not really what I mean. Ever gonna get another dog? We were talking with a breeder that had a bigger litter than what they thought, and so we almost pulled the trigger, but it's a little busy. We're a little busy, so we decided not to do that. Let's see. I saw some other questions. I'm going to miss them if I don't get it. I see this one from Peter over here. Brian said, do you write dynamics, crescendos, decrescendos when you write down your transcriptions? Yeah. Yes. I write as many details as I can into a transcription. My students, well, Jack, who's on here, will, I've said this before, maybe not to Jack, but, I like to think about this imaginary jazz transcription playing robot that could play with swing feel and could play everything that you wrote down. So I'm going to be as specific as possible so that this imaginary jazz robot who's going to sight read my chart, my transcription, will do it correctly and perfectly the first time. So that's what I aim for. It doesn't always happen, I'm always revising. Even the stuff that I've published, I find mistakes in years later, So, we all do the best we can and revise it as much as we can, but it's inevitable that you'll keep on hearing more details. So keep adding more details. That's what I would say. Let me get this question here from Peter before it disappears. Peter says, being an Eastman grad, do you know anything about previous teachers, Emory Remington, and prominent students? Do you know anything? Yeah, I know a lot of those people. There's kind of a pretty tight-knit, Eastman trombone community thing, we all know each other, or it's easy to reach out to those people, just like any school, the other alumni, you have a certain connection without having to do anything. But yeah, I know Jim. I don't know Ray Premru, but I know Jim, and of course I've talked to people about Remington a lot. Michael Davis from there, from Eastman. I mean, so many people. A lot of people that you might not even know about. What idol bebop man? Tatakra. Who's my idol of bebop trombone playing? I guess J.J. Johnson, because he was the originator of jazz bebop on the trombone. I'll go with that. Okay, if you could go back and fix any record you've worked on, what would you change or do better on, and why? I kind of view things as a little document, man. So I don't know that I would. What's up, Josh Jennings? Official Josh Jennings. I see you got the official thing on your Instagram. What would I change, man? I don't think I would change anything. Because the records, they are what they are. You can go back and play them again, but then that version would just be another version. That's how I feel about records and how I feel about my tunes. And I mean, if I had to go back and do anything again, I would actually, on my first record, I did it in 2 days, but there was no reason I needed to do it in 2 days. I could have done it in 1 day. That's one thing I would do different, I don't know. What would I do different? I'm trying to think back. I would eat more. I would get less stressed. I tend to get stressed out before a session. Because you want it to go well, and I try to do it in a day always. So I would just tell myself that you don't need to have so much material. 45 minutes is more than enough music for a record. You don't need to fill up all 70 minutes of a CD. It's ridiculous. It's silly. You don't need to do it. 7, 8 tunes, 9 tunes, that's way more than enough. You could get 6, maybe 5, 6 tunes on a vinyl LP, and that was cool. And the big problem comes, from my record label point of view, is you make a record and it's 60 minutes, and then you go and you say, people asking for vinyl and you're like, oh, I want to make vinyl for these people, and then you have to cut off 25% of your record to make it fit on vinyl or more. So don't record as much music. Be a little bit more focused. Make, if record 10 and pick 7 or 8, if you're going to do it that way. But anyway, what's up, Jackson? If you wrote and composed an original Broadway show, what would the plot be and what would the music be like? Oh man. It's not my favorite genre of music. So I don't know. If I was to write it, it would be like, I think it would have to be like classic show tune, Cole Porter vibe, and try to write like new standards like that in terms of the musical vibe. I've never once in my life thought about a plot of a musical, so I can't really answer that question. Josh asks if I'm familiar with Kilo by J.J. Johnson. Yes, I transcribed his solo on that tune. I do know that tune. I am familiar. Let's see. Two Dog Life. Yeah, well, you're a bigger man for it, man. You got those 2 dogs. You took them all the way to North Carolina. It's crazy, man. Christian. Hi, Christian. Is it possible to do music performance and music technology in college? Yes. There's a lot of places that allow you to do that. If you're talking about like wanting to get a degree in both, I don't know if you can in all places, but I know that in many places you can participate in the music technology side 100% and do a performance degree. Even in some places you can get a music technology degree. I know I would look into places that have, some pop music part of their program or commercial music part of their program, like maybe Berkeley or UNT. Both of those places do. I know like Miami has some things in that realm. I don't know the full catalog of every school, so you'd have to probably go and do a little bit of research, but NYU too, I think you can do both. I don't know if you can get 2 degrees in both, but you could definitely be a performance major and participate in the technology, or be a technology major and then also play in ensembles and things of that nature. That's for sure. It's an essential skill, man. You got to have a little technology. You got to at least be able to do this. Get one microphone and a camera and figure out how to get on the internet sometimes. What's up, Boo Muhammad 84? Hello. He said hello to you. Just saying hello to people here on Instagram. Nathan, Hip Hop True. He probably is gone by now. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Just joining us. Let's see. Lots of good questions coming in. If you could arrange an orchestral version of a standard, which one would you choose? Oh, yeah, I love that style. Yeah, I love that. I think a lot of them have already been done, but if you're just saying like redo and do my own version of one, I love the tune Laura, man, and so I would just do that. Just like go to tunes that you love. That I used to kind of be self-conscious about wanting to play the same tunes all the time. I've been getting less self-conscious of wanting to play the same tunes all the time, because if it's a nice tune, it's a nice tune, and there's a reason why it's classic, man. Or Stardust. I wouldn't do Stardust because there's too many versions, and there's so many great versions I couldn't possibly like match, so I would never do that. But something that I really love and I love to play, like Laura. I like that one. Ooh, here's a question putting me on the spot. DJ Rice, he said, what would you do different with an in-person version of the jazz trombone boot camp? Well, there would be concerts or events kind of every night. There'd be some kind of jam session. There'd be a rhythm section. There would be probably like a concert with each one of the guest artists in addition to the master class. It's just a lot to ask, I think, of people that don't do technology stuff all the time, to ask them to like record a concert and things of that nature. So I think that would be a thing. Having everybody getting lessons throughout the week would also be a thing. Having practice time would be a thing. Having just hang time, listening time, that would be a thing. So DJ, if you want it to happen in person, we got to find a location, and then we got to find enough people that want to come. Because I know Mike D's, originally the Jazz Institute in Brevard was like a trombone day thing, a trombone focused camp, and then expanded into a full jazz camp. Because I know that there's a lot of trombone players out there, but sometimes running a camp with more instruments is more feasible, just for like the cost of renting like a nice place to be, like Brevard, for example. It can be expensive. So we got to find a location, and we got to find if people are willing to come and spend the amount of money that it would cost to like stay there and all those things. It's like kind of a different economic model than just like than an online camp. You can do it a lot more cheaply and involve more people. So hopefully someday, do some research for me, DJ, if you want it to happen. We'll have to get Alton in on that too. Okay, from Brian here, or let me go here. Samuel Dudley, what's happening? Do you listen to more Vic Dickinson or Jack Teagarden? Good question. I think the honest answer would have to be just Teagarden from the amount of times I've assigned a Teagarden solo versus a Vic Dickinson solo. Not that one is necessarily like deserves that, but I think Teagarden is more well known, I suppose. Vic Dickinson just like isn't as well known. That's all. So Jack Teagarden, I guess. Alvanical Heroes Music. Have you ever been to Brazil? No, but I can't wait to come. I'll get there sometime, hopefully sooner than later. I've been to Argentina, not Brazil, in South America. What are the Teagarden solos that I tend to assign? It's John's here. Hello, John. Teagarden solos. There's a lot of good Teagarden solos. Actually, I had a student, Trenton. I don't know if Trenton's around. If he ever sees this video, he investigated a lot of Teagarden. He has a great solo on Lover. He plays it in D flat. He has a great solo in there. I always start with this West End Blues. He's a YouTube video of him singing and playing. It's like one chorus, and it really gets like the overall vibe of what he's about. Meaning like he's got a very certain way of playing turns and slide vibrato and that kind of Louis Armstrong-esque arpeggiated lines. So that's on West End Blues. That's where I start people with, but there's so many good ones, and that Lover one is good. Alton, are you still platinum status with Delta? Yes. I haven't taken a flight. I still haven't taken a flight since March. Coming back from Reno, from the tour, the Cast of Characters tour, where we canceled that. Only because they extended everything until January or whatever, 22. So I'm still platinum. But the first time I'm flying again is to go to the Trombone Festival in Georgia. What advice do you give your students about listening actively to records? To listen for specific things, like specific things, like what is the bass doing? What is the hi-hat doing? Doing it with one track at a time, doing it with other people, just talking about the records with other people and hanging out and not worrying too much about always being super detailed and educational. Like just sometimes stuff is just great. What's up, Abel? And stuff is good. Talk about why it's good. Show people new stuff that they haven't heard before. All of those sort of things I think is important to do with other people. So if I could go and do anything more, with like my experience in undergrad or something like that, I would go and listen to records more, so I could have gotten more insight about the music a little bit faster, because it's a community music, and you need the community to help with that aspect of the music. For me. Hello, DVA. That's a little heart. Thanks for the heart. Yeah, Alton, see you there. From Juan. Hello, Juan. How is your process while composing? Do you compose from the trombone? From Uruguay. Very nice. Hello. Not from Uruguay. From New York. My process while composing, it's changed, but it's usually at the piano and or vocalizing. I've been trying to write more things that are like I can sing, because you want things to be a little bit memorable at least, and then to kind of contrast those with more technical things. Sometimes if it's a more technical line, I'll try to write it on the trombone, but I really try to be able to sing something even if it's a fast line, and then figure out what it would be on the trombone and make adjustments. I mean, a great example of that is like if you check out my tune called "The Chase," it's super like fast line at the beginning, and awkward leaps, but it lays really easily on the trombone. So there's an example of something that I wrote that's like super easy on trombone, but sounds super crazy and is really hard on saxophone apparently, but not that hard on trombone because I wrote it on the trombone. But usually I write at the piano and singing, and I just brainstorm for a long time. I've done some other more deeper dives into this topic of composition, but I generally like brainstorm for a long time, all different ideas, like from a certain genesis idea. So starting with one scale, sound, key center, and then kind of blowing it up from there into different ideas and chord structures and sequences and all that kind of stuff. What's up, Jason? What's up? Here's a question from John. Have you ever known someone to add any substance to the slide handle to increase grip? Well, yeah, Steve Teray makes a gripper. He makes it out of plastic and then paints it with nail polish. I don't know how like healthy it is to inhale all those fumes, but my friend Joe McDonough tells a good story about making a gripper with Steve Teray. But if you ever see Joe, ask him about it. Joe teaches trombone at Temple University. He lives in Philly again now. So yes. And they also used to make like put tape on the slide or something to like grip it a little more, or like some people put like the cord from like a phone cord, or like an analog phone cord, like around the wrap here on the neck pipe and or on the slide, like to have some grip, or leather stuff. People put leather grips. Abel asks, who are your biggest influences? Trombone, trumpet, sax, rhythm section. Who are your absolute favorites? My biggest influences are, if I just have to say, it's like Duke Ellington, J.J. Johnson. Probably I listened to a lot of Joshua Redman and Pat Metheny when I was starting, and Michael Brecker, and all those things kind of combined with Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock. Those are the big ones. And then lots of trombone players along the way. Of course, all the big ones, you know. Good afternoon. What advice would you have for a bachelor's trombonist for jobs while in grad school? Oh, that's a good question. Jobs while in grad school, so you still have time to practice. I mean, I think getting into the like entrepreneurial mindset of like doing something on your own rather than getting a job, doing something where you can create the income yourself that could potentially be scalable in the future, whether it's building a lesson business, whether it's building like a consulting business where you're helping teachers teach jazz, learn how to teach jazz, if it's selling a product, if it's doing marketing, if it's doing audio, video stuff, like something that's going to teach you the skills of being a freelancer while you're in school is going to be more difficult and more time consuming, but is ultimately like what it is like out in the world. And to develop those, the mindset, number one, and develop the wherewithal, like what can I do other than play the trombone to make money? You know, because I would do that. I would find like an entrepreneurial way to make money. That's what I would do. Buy and sell stuff. Go garage sailing and resell stuff. Buy sneakers and flip them, or hoodies or whatever. You know, do any of those sort of things that involve just like buying and selling, transacting just from money, so that you can get that entrepreneurial stuff going inside of you, because you have to be a freelancer, you know, ultimately. If you just want a job, then being a musician might be difficult for you, just like to show up at the same time every day, you know. It just doesn't really work that way. Okay. Hello. I saw some other questions. Technical question. How do you fill in the gap between natural slurs from like B flat to F, or how to make it smoother, like it's really connected? Yeah, you don't want to have a gap, right? I think of it as a hill instead of a staircase. That's something I talk about in except Dogecoin. That's funny. Yeah, you don't have to be an investor, but just, you know, figure out how to make some money doing something other than playing trombone. while you're in grad school, you know. And then you have a skill in case their gigs go away because of a global pandemic, you know. Okay, so the gap. So you want to have I always talk about like the moment of change. There's a YouTube video called that, the moment of change, talking about lip slurs. So if you want to dive deeper into this topic, go watch that video. But you have to change immediately from the F to the B flat. So you have to hear the note first, and then you have to change immediately. Like the thing that happens is we go too slow from the note. We get all the in between because we buzz, right? This goes back to why I don't really buzz, because you go and you practice like sirens on the buzz, right? Right, because that's what we want. It's like a hill, right? But if you only practice that way, then you always have all that nonsense in between, and you get when you're coming back up and down. So you have to practice just the moment of changing from boo back and forth. And so you just have to try to wait till the very last moment, and I try to imagine in my mind what it's going to feel like to switch really quickly. And so I'll just play an F, and then boo, get back to B flat, back to F. I don't know if it's the right pitch, but I would just practice it that way, one note at a time. Smooth it out, baby. Hope that helps you, William. There's a question here. This is a crazy question. The Cambridge Dictionary defines integrity as the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. How would you define artistic integrity for yourself and your art form? That's a Juilliard question. Hey man, that's for you to answer, not for me to answer. Hey, Tyler Wortman, what's happening? How do you balance your trombone practicing these days? I am trying to commit to doing my routine every day. I'm doing the get ready routine because it's 20 minutes, and I wrote the darn thing, so I figured I should see how it works, and it really has been really helpful for me, actually. It's been making me feel like pretty strong, pretty fast without too much time warming up, because it's just the basics, man. It's just long tones, lip slurs, pedal tones, flexibility, pitch bends, articulation, getting high, getting low, bang. So I've been trying to focus on doing a same routine because it's been so long since I've done like a routine that I want to get back. I wanted to try it, see what was happening, because it's been since maybe Eastman or Juilliard where I've had like a routine, and I'm going to go through this routine. But I also don't have that much time, so I'm not going to do a long one, do a short one. But got to do what you can and try not to beat yourself up, especially after school is done. You know, that's why you got to put all the time in while you're in school. I rely so much on the foundation of time that I put in while I was an undergrad and grad school to get me through playing now, because there's just not as much time. So finding any chance to practice short sessions, you know, whatever it means, you know, at least trying to just make the time to do it. If you don't make the time, I have to schedule things in. If I don't schedule it in, it's not going to happen, because I have to kind of hold myself accountable in that way. So I put it on my calendar. Like, I'm going to practice at this time, and I do it. Because if I say I'm going to do something, even if I say it only to myself, I'm pretty good at making sure that it happens. That's just something that has always worked well for me. So if I say I'm going to do it, then I just do it. So that's how I handle that. I hope you're doing well out there in Florida, man. Yeah, Taylor, I'm sorry, man. That's such a convoluted academic question. Any new books or podcasts you're interested in? I started reading this book. It's right here. It's called The Rational Optimist. Matt Ridley. I'm only like 20 pages in. But I just started reading that. I have some other books. The books are here under my camera. My tripod broke. Well, it's sort of broke. It's been sort of broken for a while, but it's not working very well. So my camera, that you can't see, is on a stack of books. I can show Instagram can see it. So they can see. Where is it? Right there. Oh, that's not it. The camera's on a stack of books. So that's what I'm doing there. Let's see. All right, Alton has a question. Thoughts about advanced degrees versus real world experience? A DMA, second about a DMA or an artist diploma. So the thing with the artist diploma thing is like that's just like a great way to go somewhere and get into a program and meet some people. I would do that personally over a DMA if you want to play. And so you're probably talking about like the Juilliard AD thing. I don't know how many other places have an artist diploma like that. If you can do that Juilliard artist diploma program, I would do it because it gets you to the school. You're technically a student, but you don't really have to be a student in the same way as if you're a DMA student, for example. That's so much time and effort and research and years of your life, you know. The DMA program is like 2 years, I think, so it's like 18 months long from start to finish, a little longer, 19, 20 months, something like that, you know. But it gets you to a new place, to New York or wherever, and allows you to meet people and have a community, which I think is really important when you move to a new city. So I would do that. I personally said a long time ago I wasn't going to get a DMA, and I was going to use real world experience to get me a teaching job if I needed it. I kind of viewed the first gig that I had at Florida State as me going and learning how to teach and getting a DMA, you know, like instead of getting a DMA, I just got a job teaching college and learning through experience. And that's how I've always been. I've always been a person that learns through experience and just dives in and tries to make stuff happen and learn on the fly and see what works and what doesn't work and, you know, give it my all and be honest and all those things. And so that's what I did. So I just got a job and tried to learn through doing, and then I found that one thing led to the next, and I didn't need to go back and get that piece of paper. Luckily, I've found institutions that don't care 100%. They would like it if I had that piece of paper, but they've, you know, been okay with not having it. I think it's changing though. If you really want to be a college professor, especially at a, you know, like a big school, that's not music focused. So, you know, it's like they do lots of different things. You know, they want to have those DMA people, the PhD people even, you know. But my thoughts are that it's not for me. And you have to know why you're going to do it. If you want to be a researcher, if you want to be a professor, like that is the way to go. You have to do that. You have to get a PhD. If you just want to play the trombone, you don't really need a doctorate to play the trombone. If you want to teach classical trombone, then you kind of need that. But what's up? Alton's moving over to Instagram as I answer his question. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I've heard people say that the slur is supposed to play all the notes in between, like lip bending all the way until it hits the higher note. Doesn't work for me, and I should try. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. It might work for somebody else. I don't think so. Situation: you wake up on tour feeling sick. What are your tricks and remedies to get your? It says asked. Get your asked, but I think to get your butt together, to get yourself together. Vitamin C. Lots of water. And I just don't let it bother me. I go running if I feel sick because it's probably counterintuitive, but it makes me feel better. You get the blood flowing, get the endorphins going, get the immune system going. So I run. Especially if I'm feeling sick, I run. If I feel tired, I run. On tour. 100%. Exercise. That's what gets me going. If I'm feeling crappy, it doesn't matter. Stomach, head, whatever. I don't really do anything if I feel sick. If I feel sick, like I'll try to take maybe, if I have a headache, maybe Advil or whatever, but just drink water and get through it. What is the darkest sounding trombone you've played, or any combination of mouthpiece bell materials? I don't know. It's a really good question, Michael. But I gotta be honest, I don't know. The darkest? I don't like just go check out horns all the time either. That Elliott Mason BAC is pretty, I don't know, it's actually not dark. It's heavy though. I don't know what the darkest one. Sorry. Because I don't necessarily agree that the way that my ear hears and experiences the adjectives that we talk about when we talk about sound. Like, I don't necessarily think like a rose gold is a dark sound. It's a different sound, but it's like, it's a softer sound to me, rather than darker. You know, like I don't hear it that way. So for me, I just like I don't know. Oh, I see questions here. I hope nothing happened. Alton, I don't know. Have you tried tuning in slide trombone? I have. I've played only on bass trombone though. The old cons. I dig it, man. I think it's cool. Some people think that's stupid, but George Flynn, killing bass trombonist, he plays on one of those. They play good. I like those old bass trombones. On top of what Jackson was saying, do you apply the same thing to practicing when you have a headache or are really tired? Do you set aside a small amount of time to practice the trombone? Man, okay, check this out. Making real live music involves creating vibrations, and those vibrations always make me feel better. If I feel crappy and I play, I feel better, because those things, they vibrate on a certain frequency. And I'm not a big like new agey kind of person, but like there's a vibe of that energy, and it's a real thing, man. Like it's real in my mind. It feels real to me that is a thing. So, you know, I wouldn't not play. I would play. I think so. My whole thing is like, if once I've decided that there's things I need to do, I do them, whether I feel sick or not, a headache or not, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, like, that's just not something I would ever consider. You know, like it's just like, it doesn't matter that I have a headache. It also doesn't matter if I feel sick. Especially if you have a gig, like nobody cares. They paid for a ticket. Play the darn show. You know, I've seen Wycliffe Gordon do that countless times. He says, "Oh, I'm sick of this, that." Plays great, man. And so I just guess I just aspire to be like that. Not because I want to like be a tough guy or something like that, but like, I don't know. I just think that there's something, you just have to decide to do it, and you do it. But yeah, I think playing music makes you feel better. So I would definitely play. And I also wouldn't care if I had a headache. I would just play. If I have to do it, I have to do it, you know? Man, really lots of really great questions this week. I appreciate you all. I'm going to jump off now. I got another class in 10 minutes. I'm going to give myself a few minutes of a break here. But appreciate you all being here, hanging out, asking questions. And yeah, we'll be back next Friday with another episode of the Ask Nick show. And I appreciate everyone hanging out. So have a great weekend, holiday weekend in the United States. So be safe and don't set off too many fireworks. But otherwise, I'll catch you all next Friday. Thanks for being here.